Hello and welcome to another episode, another route, another, in a way, season of The Devil We Know with me, Juliet.
And also me, Kavita.
We're playing the game We Know the Devil. You've probably caught that fact from the whatever links you click to get here, the title on the screen, or the previous episodes that you've seen.
Our premise is, as always, that I've played this game and Juliet has been Christian.
I have had that happen to me.
Yes.
There's a
Actually, I think it's very I appreciate your description because from what I've heard about your life, I do think that Christianity is something that happened to you rather than something you were.
uh
Juliet has so I will recharacterize this. I've played this game and Juliet has had Christianity happen to them.
I think that is a generous statement towards my younger self, but what is life for if not being generous to your younger, more vulnerable self?
So true.
I'm thinking about clicking new game. Is there anything that we need to discuss first? Or should I hit new
Yes.
game?
I mean, like we can do this as we click new game, but the real
Mhm.
question is basically just like we have seen, I think, every scene in the game at this point. Um,
No. There's at least one scene. There's at least one choice, which is a choice between three scenes rather than a choice between two. Um, and I don't
right.
think we've seen the Venus and Neptune go out to get parts before they're trying to like get a hold of God or what have you.
Yes, I think that's correct. But we've seen every other scene in the game at this point. So the real question is, how much do we want to replay versus how much do we want to like, or rather, the question is like I think it's probably most interesting if instead of doing a reread, we just like skim through it and highlight anything that stands out as interesting about like scenes we've seen. Like
So
instead
we
of
say
doing
all
an
the
acting, we
lines,
do
but
like
we say it really quickly.
not a director's commentary, but like a
Oh,
less
okay.
player's commentary.
Okay, I think that's reasonable. Um, I I express a like minute of hesitation about it because I'm just so like my brain is so much like what's the mystery of Jupiter? Like there's some major thematic resonance of Jupiter or some mystery of Jupiter which the ending will of this route hopefully will like unlock for me
Yeah.
as a reading.
Yes.
Um
We should read the new stuff to be clear.
And I'm wondering whether like I will notice and synthesize more of that through the conversations we have. And I just love the writing of this game. I still think your take is the right one. I just do think there's like something in favor of us spending as much time as possible really unpacking the text here.
Uh, let's take it. Let's play it by ear.
The compromise position, we just do all the lines as fast as possible. We're drenched in sunscreen and bug spray and incense. We feel gross, look gross, and smell gross. We're sunburned and bug bitten, and behind us is the devil, every annoyance of summer nipping at our heels. Being in the Summer Scout sucks incredibly. The cabins are stuffy, the beds are gross, the food is grosser. The counselors only sing about Jesus, lowercase j, and they won't let us have a transformation sequence. We can't wait until a week from now when the three of us are home in our beds and we won't have to think about what we do or don't deserve, and we can leave cleaning up the devil, lowercase d, to someone else.
And I do want to shout out to Liver Brief there. I think it's interesting that we never get a sense of whether these kids have known each other before camp or not.
You know, my to me the reading is no, but the
Mm-hmm.
question of how long this camp has been is much more of the open question to me because
Yeah.
there's some elements of this that make it seem like this is at least a 3+ week camp, possibly a
Yeah.
like 6 week camp or something in that
I
sort
think
of
this is definitely
climate.
more than a month because we know that like basically it's the last week of camp and everyone has confronted the devil except Group West. Um, and if we have Group West, that's implicitly at least 4 weeks. So maybe 8 weeks? Cardinals and intercardinals?
So we know there are at least some intercardinal directions or intra-cardinal, something like that. Because I think there's like southeast gets mentioned at least once. We don't
Yeah.
necessarily know that all 8 points and semi-points of the compass are going to be reflected. You know, it could be, oh, there's the big
I would
lake,
assume
therefore
5 because my
there's no.
logical assumption would be that you fill out the 4 main ones before you start doing Southwest. Uh,
I suppose I'm just imagining like this big lake that takes up all of like north and northwest, you know,
uh
and so you get like east, southeast, south, southwest, west, like.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking like football conferences, or not football, like NCAA conferences in America. Speaking of Christianity, um, uh,
Um,
mhm.
I think we can safely assume that it's been at least 5 weeks. Maybe closer to. I would gamble 2 or 3 months, but
I think it's
and yeah,
also
that 2 or 3 months feels
interesting.
right for how long these kids have like it's enough time for them to know each other fairly well, without it being like um it's enough time to have a dynamic without them like knowing each other really intimately, I guess is the way I would say it.
Mhm. I I'm also surprised to hear, and I can see how it would make sense. I I'm a little bit surprised to hear that your assertion that all of the other groups and or all of the other people have already confronted the devil? Question mark.
I'm
Um,
like fairly certain that comes up in the bonfire captain scene.
hmm,
Um,
I believe you.
I don't remember how explicit it is, but I feel like this is conveyed that like these are the last kids to do it. Do it.
Mhm.
Um,
Another interesting question is if we are leaving Jupiter out of this row as much as possible, or
uh,
are we like only leaving Jupiter out just enough to get her ending? Um, but who wants to
I don't,
do?
we only have like
Mhm.
7 choices, so I think there's not that much difference between those two things.
Okay. Um, uh, Jupiter says ow twice. Who wants to do Venus's line?
Um, yes, we should. I'm like, I kind of want to tackle Jupiter as an exercise for myself.
Okay, yeah. I think that's an interesting thing to do. Um, I don't
Unless you're
mean
very
to
strong about wanting to
assign.
play Jupiter.
No, I'm totally fine. Uh, I I don't. It's interesting that then because you took Venus in most of the scenes in Route One, and you took
Uh-huh.
Neptune in all of the scenes in Route Two, uh, that you will be assuming the voice of the character who gets the devil ending in
I didn't notice
our
that,
first
but
three
sure.
routes. Which is, I guess, what I'm saying. I'm not trying to make that happen, but I do think having you explore Jupiter makes sense to me.
That's fun.
Um,
Damn, I really do know the devil.
uh, you know, these these things do happen. Uh, let's see if I can find my Venus. Oh, 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 oh. What's the Jack DeKeat line? Um,
That's my favorite of the juices. I'm trying to think of things that are pathetic.
a, a ghost is a kind of parasite. A parasite of memory.
Oh god.
A parasite of haunting. Uh, oh my god, are you okay?
Oh, totally. Totally fine. That's scratchier than I mean. Ow.
Are you sure? It looked so bad.
Nah, it's nothing. It's okay. It
Who's doing.
literally looks like it
Okay,
fucking killed you.
so you are still gonna do Neptunes. Cool.
Neptune
I.
is so much fun to play. Like, I cannot.
Hmm.
I totally, totally promise I'm still alive.
Okay. See, I also think it's really interesting. However, this arc ends, or however this route ends, the next route you play starts with Jupiter being like, "Ow, ow, okay, I'm here, I'm totally normal human, I'm alive, I promise." um, so if you got the Jupiter ending first, then your second route you'd be like, oh, that's why this is happening. In the same way, because we got the Venus ending first when we started the second route, I was like, oh, the reason Jupiter's like hurt is because she just fell out of a tree. Like, because that's how,
Oh,
like, the Venus route ends, you know?
right.
I don't think this is a loop, but like, I think there's something interesting in the storytelling, the like Hedda Gabler of it, I suppose.
Don't fall asleep with a concussion. If you do, wait, no, I lost my Neptune voice. Don't fall asleep with a concussion. If you do, I'm calling 911. I won't. Do please take me with you.
Okay, I'm gonna manually fast forward us through a bunch
Sure.
because I think. Oh no! Actually, those were the lines that I was hoping to get to. Very, very stupid of me. Um, Laughing off a head injury isn't all that Jupiter's good at. She has the best grades in class, and coaches make her starter on whatever team has the most pressing need for someone who can do sports. She's a perfect role model, except for how she always misses the winning goal and she always blanks on the last question. She leads when no one else wants to, which is always. Jupiter clutches her head. It hurts a lot. She thinks about hands gently pressing into her temples. It's a relaxing thought until she feels the texture of fingers on her scalp. I bring this up in part because I think this is some of the most characterization of we get of Jupiter. We find out more about Jupiter's family later on, but not necessarily a lot about her as a person. And when we first encountered these lines, I was like, "Oh, I get Jupiter. I resonate with Jupiter in a lot of ways. That very particular okay, I guess I'll take the lead on this, but I won't. I'll succeed, but I won't excel. I'll miss the winning shot. I'm assigned to a role. I'm not actually choosing it. And I think having seen now the Venus and Jupiter in the closet scene, these fingers on her scalp, these hands, I don't know. I think it's a weird Jupiter thing. I'm just very invested in learning more about Jupiter. Jupiter snaps a hair tie against her wrist.
Are we late already?
I think we left pretty early.
We've been walking for a long time, though.
I don't think so. Maybe. Okay, let's get to the bonfire, Captain.
Sorry, I just remember Neptune's texts are good.
Yes, resting witch face is great. Neptune didn't tell us we were late because she was too busy talking with her friends and doesn't care how much trouble we get into. Or maybe she didn't want us to worry for as long as we didn't have to worry. Gotta love it. Neptune is very kind, or possibly super mean and hates us, but that's okay. She's really funny. So, I find a kind of flaw or failing in this writing, or in this line, and I'm curious to see if anything stands out to you in this line especially.
I guess the start of this is the start of from the moment the word "we" is breaking, from the jump, the word "we" is already breaking down. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we is always the word we is already being made to exclude, or being used to exclude, I should say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which is fun to me. That's
And
themes, baby.
it is themes, but it's really interesting to me that it's not like Neptune is very kind or possibly super mean and hates me, um, or anything like that. It's like hates us.
Yeah.
Wait, does Neptune hate everyone else at the camp, or we we're seeing three people here, and
Yeah.
Neptune is like her sprite is literally in front of the other two. She's like separated out, whereas the other two are on the same plane.
Uh-huh.
Um, and the idea of like us, Jupiter and Venus both feeling potentially like at arm's reach, but in really different ways. We get to see, as we saw last route, that like there are things that Neptune will share with Venus because she really doesn't want to share them with Jupiter.
Uh-huh.
And certainly Venus doesn't feel like everything is shared with them. Like
Uh-huh.
that's not like an open uh, communication. It doesn't seem like.
Yeah.
Neptune looks in a way like she's supposed to be here, but that's why she's here, of course. For a moment, she's about to say something, but it catches in her throat and she coughs instead. Wow. They really do set these things up, don't they?
Uh-huh.
Oh, over there. Where? See that light? I don't. Oh, yeah. Oh, over there. See that light? I don't see. Wow, yeah. See the light. Jupiter doesn't see it. Neptune coughs. Huh.
That's themes, baby.
Mm hmm. Mm hmm.
That's foreshadowing. We're not too late, right?
Ah, what a good sprite.
Oh, Neptune's face is so fantastic.
Haha, Group West's finally here. Kinda
I
early
fucking
for you
forgot about
guys,
this
huh?
voice.
I tried. I'm toning it down a lot from the last one.
Are you?
Yep.
Uh,
Okay. I
I
can
think it's
turn it.
just been so long since I've heard you play
Mhm.
a male character.
The bonfire captain. I could do more
And
gender
also
neutral.
as Benoit Blanc,
I
evil
didn't
Benoit
notice
Blanc.
the oh, what is the called the shell necklace that all the rich guys in school have. You know the one?
I No, I don't.
It's like little shells, like that almost look like
Cowrie
they're
shells, I think
biting
they're
on
called.
something.
I like recognize the concept of the necklace. I just don't know. Like, I don't have the cultural association with it that you have.
Gotcha. I think
This man's head is a thumb.
yeah, so absolutely a thumb. I it's it may also have to do with this region. The richer families would not. I wouldn't say that. Oh, we summer down at the beach. But like would genuinely go to these other similar enclaves, especially on in the like Carolina coast,
Mm-hmm.
and would all come back with these necklaces. Uh,
Huh.
that
Cool.
might be extremely niche, or it might be Juliet misreading something, but that's life for you. Uh,
Well, listen. I have no reading on it, so this
mhm.
is more than I had a minute ago.
uh, I didn't hear y'all swearing, did I?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Nah.
Ha ha ha. Sure you weren't. See, I'm toning it down a little. we, uh, we promise. We promise. Oh, I believe you. Don't know about the rest, though. Uh, Um, Venus smiles in that way that makes everyone there want to punch them a little. But that's all it takes for them to forget we were even late. Venus can smile and laugh nervously through anything, and the rest of us are invisible for as long as we can endure this secondhand embarrassment. It's so easy to fast forward through this, but like there is great characterization set up here before we get into the choices.
Yeah.
Sit down, everyone. Um, Incense, Wood, Daylilies, Singed Wire from Burned Out Radio's, Dubious Apologies, Ashes of Monsters of the Week. So similar, again, Monsters of the Week. I could have gotten through 3, potentially 4, depending how the fourth route goes. I could have gotten through 3 routes of this game and not thought of this as in any way literally like adjacent to a magical girl camp or a magical girl like storytelling structure. And it's interesting to me how much the like transformation sequence, monsters of the week, all of these different things, and like just despite enjoying that genre of storytelling, it feels so much like weird metaphor here, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting thing because it's like it gets so little like focus.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not that I would call it bolted on because I don't think that's the case, but it's like it feels like it's like at the back of the story because I mean this is in and of itself like because these are the kids who don't get transformation sequences and also you don't see any of the monsters of the week except the devil, um,
Mm-hmm.
which has its own which has a bunch of other symbolism already, I would say, uh, and a huge amount of other symbolic value or symbolic like meaning. Like it's easy to forget about for me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
feels very like it's like hard to remember that this is like inspired by that because it feels a little bit in the background.
And it's interesting. I'm so curious to revisit Heaven Will Be Mine, but I got through 90% of Heaven Will Be Mine before I realized that there were like trans themes that were supposed to be very evident in the characterization and text, if that makes sense.
Uh huh.
I
I would. You got about 90% of 30% of the way through Heaven Will Be Mine.
That's a good point. That is a great point. A game that I genuinely don't know whether it's like, 2/3 as long as this one is or like 3 times longer. No concept of length at this point.
Uh-huh.
Uh, Anyways, so gross. A great pronouncement. Venus sits with their legs crossed, taking up as little space as they can, which is at most not very much. Neptune remains mercilessly fashionable, watching the other groups like they're the entertainment. Jupiter pulls her legs up and rests her chin on her knees. She's bad at posture, but she is good at being comfortable. She likes the security of holding her whole body. Good
I
to
need to
know.
learn how to be good at being comfortable.
You know, I don't have anything interesting to say about that. That's diplomacy for you. There's a
Wow.
no, I would like to be like, well, the only thing I can do with my body is find comfort in it. You know what I mean? Like, because it's not good for anything else.
That's
uh,
funny.
I can't like do like physical labor with my body, but I can lay in bed with a lot of blankets. Uh, but I don't know if that counts in the same way, and I don't know whether that's the same idea about being comfortable in your body as we're talking about.
Even I don't either.
There's a perfect balance of usefulness and liability to the young, for which the summer scouts are the most perfect solution. What a What a lie. What a dishonest thing to say.
Oh, I'm fascinated by that take.
So, like, this might be a little bit too religious, but do you ever hear something and know it isn't true regardless of the other, like, details you have? Like, regardless of the, like, logical or, like, you don't, whatever evidence you have or don't have, you just hear something and you know it's true, or you hear something and you know it's not true?
I I feel like I probably have had this experience, but I like can't think of one off the
Hmm.
top of my head. So we'll say an informal no.
This is just the sort of, and, maybe it could be the absoluteness of the words, the idea of this like perfect balance, this idea of this solution, this idea of a like pronouncement about the young or whatever, but
Uh-huh.
it feels like a sentence which necessarily entails details I am not privy to that would contradict its claim.
Uh-huh.
That's my explanation
Yeah.
of it.
I guess it's I you or perhaps maybe perfect is a subjective term.
Hmm. And like the idea that summer scouts are a great way to uh in okay, so there's this usefulness and liability are in perfect balance,
Uh-huh.
and we have a perfect solution to this perfect balance.
Uh-huh.
It's like, oh yeah, we got these things in the perfect proportions, and here's a solution to that
Yeah.
situation. It's like, wait a minute, why do we need this thing? um and maybe it's, oh, to push the idea of a perfect balance is that the things are perfectly balanced, but not that it's good to sit at that
Yeah.
status quo, maybe.
Yeah. I mean,
uh
I read it probably much more casually, which is basically just the like um the Summer Scouts is the best way to exploit the balance of usefulness and liability that the young have.
sure, sure. And then it's like, well, what is the goal of most summer camps is to take up time uh, and isolate children or teenagers in a particular kind of environment,
Uh-huh.
and approaching that idea through the idea of liability, through the
Uh-huh.
idea of you're reducing the tendency towards liability, you're reducing the tendency towards like falling into wanton behavior and mistakes, mild crimes, or
Uh-huh.
just bad crowds or anything. Um, and you're reducing that, but then it's like, oh, but is the goal usefulness? Well, if you want to do that, then you make your kid get a summer job, and then thinking about this, okay, is part of this not a time wasting and not a reforming camp, but a camp about developing a certain set of skills, or a certain skill set that can be used or exploited in the future, the way like summer training for any sort of job, a lot of internships, a lot of things like that
Uh-huh.
exist for. Is this part of the like career path of magical girlship?
Yeah.
uh, and
Or
to
maybe
like
it's just that like I mean, I think the social reading is just that like it is my impression that the reinforcement of Christianity in American culture is doing its own kind of practical work uh, in terms of just like enforcing hegemony and maintaining certain cultural values about things like sexuality and like you know tolerance of difference and so on and so forth. And like I if we went Christianity has American Christianity has interests. I think that's easy to say, and for our audience, does not need to be justified as a statement. But given that American Christianity has interests, I feel like a lot of what's happening at a camp like this is teaching the kids to enforce those interests uh to like even against each other, right? Like
We're in like
when Venus
Foucault space,
breaks,
right?
huh?
We're in like Foucault space, right?
Probably. I have not read enough of him to be 100% sure, but I think so. Um, but like yeah, it's exactly that. It's like because I mean that's literally what this is, right? Like it's about getting two of the kids like they like you know they cover this like at the end of every route. This is not a game where you poke the devil out of a single kid and then all the adults get together and like purge it out, or even where it's like all the kids get together and purge it out of one kid at a time. You do it in groups of three. One person gets excluded, one person becomes the devil, and the other two have to learn to like you know punish that behavior and enforce Christian normativity again. So, uh,
God, that
like
sucks.
yeah,
Everyone having a good time? No one is or has much enthusiasm to fake it.
yeah, bro.
I said, is everyone is that yeah, yeah, it's actually his literal next line. Um
Oh,
great.
I thought you had remembered.
Uh no, I just kind of like felt it in the ether. Um Captain can be motivating. I'm not gonna yell. Y'all, if you want to hear the bonfire captain, go back to the first one. Uh, the bonfire captain doesn't quit until everyone's at least put effort into faking it. Uh, there's something to say about like Pascal's wager here, right? Um,
Uh-huh.
and the like
That's a
pronouncement.
generous interpretation of what's going on.
I well, if you think about from the idea of a Christian authority, um, what what practical Christians in their authority in like our present world, I would like to say is well, even if you don't believe, you should, you know, get your haircut right, follow your gender norms, be go to church, you know what I mean? Like be a part of like normal good civic society, right? Um and then people who think just a little bit further, people who are like engaging in apologetics and that sort of thing, would say
Mhm.
something like Pascal's wager. Uh to
Oh,
it
I didn't see those as connected.
to a further degree, like, you know, to God, it's like, hey, we're not going to quit until at least everyone has put the effort into pretending to be a good, normal Christian. And one of the things we discussed about last route is like, well, if you get to the point where everybody is following like some version of these ideas or beliefs, there will then be the like idea of okay, well, which subgroup within this can we orientalize, which subgroup in this can we ostracize, can we oppress, can we take advantage of, can we
Mhm.
make an other, so as to like you develop our own what's the range touch saying, uh the social is predicated on its exclusions. um Again, I think this might be me reading too much into a bonfire captain and this line, but
No,
you know,
actually, I didn't. The reason I said that's generous is because I didn't understand what you were getting at, and now that I do understand what you were getting at, I think you're right.
Pascal's wager for the viewer who is not familiar, uh, loosely comes down to the idea that if you do choose to like believe in God and there is a God, you go to heaven. Uh, and if you choose to believe in a God and there isn't, nothing bad happens to you. Therefore, your like game theory uh, amortization of like averages should be to opt into like believing or at least choosing to like say that you believe in God. That falls apart pretty quickly once you have more than one God or belief structure, especially, you know, but anyways. You can read up
Uh-huh.
more about Pascal's wager if you want to learn more about that.
Yay.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
This is bullshit.
So true.
That's more like it. Still a little quiet in the West.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, fuck him. Snort.
Shh, shh. Aw.
This is a really
Venus.
good Venus face.
Yeah, I got the lights in the eyes and everything. Love
A
it.
little like wavy smile.
Mm-hmm. Star of the morning. The bonfire captain picks up his guitar. Neptune doesn't even try to hide her look of pure offense. None of the counselors like to talk as much as he does. He must feel like he needs to give the sermon since he's in charge. But we know the counselors wish they were somewhere else as much as we do. I don't feel like reading the story again. I believe that it has some like thematic parallels to the idea of like whoever the third is in a group of three, and like the sort of nature of exclusion that structures this game, that I think is one of the like absolutely coolest parts of this game, and like a much richer decision than it first seems. I just don't think this story is interesting, and it doesn't seem to have any like thematic appeal to me. Does that make sense?
Oh, do you mean the preacher's story is boring and unrelatable?
You know, now that you mention it, I, people think, oh, there's not enough live theater in our culture these days. There's not enough, of all these different types of performance. It's just hard to find a market for. Uh, Not every church. I'm sure there are many churches, maybe even most churches, maybe probably a plurality, maybe a majority of churches. The pastor does not perform the role of a bad stand-up comedian. However, there is a very large minority of churches, and you would not believe just how many churches where this is the like assumed role of this person. Their goal is not actually to like shepherd people towards a deeper and further faith, but to reinforce a incredibly short set of maxims, uh, follow, cultural ideas, and then do whatever their like gimmick as a stand-up comedian is. Like that is such a bigger part of being a pastor and head pastor than anyone talks about. I maybe there is somebody who's done like
I
cultural
can't get
studies
over it.
like research on this work, but like this is such a huge part of like modern evangelical churches.
The that was one of the most brutal things I've ever heard. I've
And
literally
like
never like I'm not kidding. I wish I could tear wow.
you know how a lot of mid and below tier quality comedians really just have the one thing, and it's like it's not even really a joke, but it's the thing, like you found your gimmick, your theme,
Uh-huh.
and that's just the thing you're gonna keep nailing into the ground whether or not it succeeds or not.
Uh-huh.
That's the thing. They find a gimmick and it's like, this is the thing I'm gonna do. Oh, I really like Marvel movies.
Oh God.
Oh, I'm from a different part of the country than you are. Like, These
How
are
many like I'm curious because like how many different of these have you like been to?
So a few years ago, I was uh spending a lot of time with the family, um, and went to church with them, and then we started looking for a new church, and went church shopping.
Uh-huh.
So every Sunday we'd go to another church, and around here I would say there's some, with the amount of population increase, I would guess that the numbers these days are probably closer to a church for every 400 people in population. Might be above that, might be below that, but there's a lot of churches. And so I've been to a lot of them. I've been to churches with seemingly no connection or reference to the divinity. I've been to churches with extremely poor, like, understanding of how to read a text like the Bible. I've been to churches with great orators constrained by having nothing to say. I've been to churches with truly caring pastors who are like just kind of naturally good speakers and naturally good people who made the practice one of like connecting to the community.
Hold on to that idea of naturally good people.
I
Keep that in your brain. That's
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to like imply that they're naturally good people. But there are like
no,
naturally good
I don't
speakers.
I'm genuine when I say this because like um it's something to keep an eye on in We Know the Devil specifically.
Oh, that is really
Also,
interesting, especially.
we need to move through this route for you to understand why this is the case. So
Uh huh. Uh huh.
let's maybe not
Uh
get too stuck. But I am
yeah.
curious. Like it is interesting to know. Like finish your pastor thing because this
Yeah.
is the kind of stuff that I don't know about and would like to learn about.
I and that this is on top of, or kind of built into that is a lot of the different churches I went to. Strictly speaking, as a child with divorced parents, and therefore in a lot of different spaces and places and everything.
Mhm.
Um, uh, though after our dad left, we didn't go to church with him for a long time because he wasn't in our lives for a while. Anyways,
Mhm.
I the most recent church that I spent much of any time at, the church that we ended up on after church shopping, was one where the pastor's whole thing is that he's from South Carolina, and like his whole thing was being like a good old Southern boy, like in a very
Aha.
like deep South. And I don't want to like necessarily start an argument about what counts as the deep South, because like South Carolina is the first state that seceded and all of that stuff. But like he really leaned into this in the most like lowest common denominator like stand-up comedian sort of way.
I
And
can't believe pastors have found a way to self-orientalize about being from a different part of the U.S.
uh
It's
uh
that's truly impressive. Like I don't even like there is a part later in this game where Neptune says, I'm in awe. No ordinary idiot could have built this cabin. It takes
mhm.
someone truly extraordinary to keep at this. That's how I feel about this man.
uh yeah. uh we
Yeah.
let's move on.
Let's move on.
I don't want to
Thanks
free
for this
both of
tour
them.
through the like the pastor shopping bin.
I feel worse bringing that up because compared to all of the churches I went to growing up, because that's more recent, then it's like, well, Julia, you opted into this. And I was like, yeah, but I was like really desperate for a found family at the time.
Mhm.
And that was you know, a fun, safe thing to do in a world that seemed very dangerous.
Mhm.
These things do happen.
Uh-huh.
Viewer, if at this point you've decided you don't forgive me, that's okay. I'm damned. I know it.
I
uh,
Okay. We gotta keep.
But in the end, he was the one that got in deep, deep trouble. I probably could have stopped it if I told him to cut it out and man up instead of basically doing the opposite. As I think we said in the first row, fem up and keep it going. Some friendships
Woman
you can
down and keep on.
Uh-huh. Some friendships you can keep up, the rest you gotta leave up to lowercase g God.
Ugh, Jesus, how long will this go on? There's no mercy in this world.
Capital J Jesus, capital E Jesus, capital all caps Jesus. You think we're going to the cabin tonight?
I don't know. Probably not. Good one, Jupiter, but there is no mercy in this world.
It's our last week at camp, and they haven't sent us there yet.
And that loser has it in for us so bad. Maybe we won't have to go. I'm feeling optimistic this time.
Why?
Yeah, why? I think Venus's face is really informative. Where Venus is just like the lack, like there is a blankness to Venus's face in this scene that is really brutal. Like Neptune's annoyed, but Venus is just genuinely not understanding in a way that's
The
like
question
a
mark
nice
of the eyebrows is great.
Because no, seriously, why? Why would you ever think that?
Hey there, Group West. Feel like meeting the devil tonight?
Damn it.
Oh no! This is the first time I've actually realized that we're going, unlike Neptune, who's had this whole afternoon to get adjusted to the idea. That's what I'm reading into Venus's face, like this shock and surprise. This sudden betrayal.
Told you. Don't worry, guys. I hear hardly anyone ever dies.
"7 p.m.
He was pretty mad, huh? Group South.
Group South is funny, but I don't feel like doing all of those repeated voices and everything. So we started this with Venus and Neptune, which is interesting, and then last time we did Venus and Jupiter, so we need to exclude Jupiter.
Yep.
Guess I'll just go take care of the next one. Sorry, this is your line, but the guess I'll die pose.
No, it's fine. I don't think we're reading this because I also don't have the patience to do Group South voices.
Cool.
Venus is mildly annoyed face.
Venus angry. Venus is so much like a kitten or like Kirby, you know?
Venus is like if Kirby had a knife.
I mean, Kirby does have a knife.
Oh, Venus is exactly like Kirby then.
I do like this conspiratorial set of expressions between.
Yeah.
That's fun. He was pretty pissed off last time, yeah, etc. We're supposed to be here. Everyone is laughing. It's Venus's fault. You know, I think my reading the first time we got to this scene, and then the past two routes, really thought of this harassment of Venus as being especially transphobic in nature. Is that also the reading that you have had about why Group South seems to be like specifically picking on Venus consistently?
I think so, yeah. I think it's like... Yes, I do think Venus is easy to pick on because Venus is not living up to masculinity super well.
Mm-hmm.
Which, who among us is?
I think I do a pretty good job.
Is that so?
Yeah, uh-huh. I wear a little button
I'll take
up
your word
and a
for
little
it.
sweater vest. Oftentimes with a cardigan over top of that. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
I'm not going to reclaim slurs on this just yet, but I'll tell you later.
Mm-hmm. The Hydra has left.
Are we doing this bit? Okay.
Oh, yeah, I finished a while ago.
What are you even looking at?
Oh, it's nothing. Don't worry. I'll come down. See, Venus is already already been seeing the lights, is up here seeing a light, is up here seeing like, oh, here's this possibility of the devil. Like, it's already there. And it's possible that that's what the fourth route is like. Listen, it's already there inside all of them. We'll see. We will see. Venus climbs down from the siren, which crackles softly with the faint static of the radio again. It's louder than normal. God is already warning us. Venus, when God starts warning everyone else around them.
What?
Thanks. And, sorry for fucking up all the time.
I literally don't care. They're idiots. They don't get it at all.
Aww. Smiling Neptune. She actually means what she's saying when she's mean here.
They're so obsessed with you. It's so weird.
And I don't know whether she means what she's saying here and just doesn't get it, or whether she's just lying here.
Yeah, that is actually a good question. I don't think it... I don't think she's lying.
Is she being intentionally diplomatic? Or is she
no,
actually...
because I don't think she sees, like...
From Neptune's point of view...
There is something that Neptune... I don't think Neptune sees the specific thing in Venus that Venus knows about, himself, quote unquote. Like, I think Neptune knows that there's something. I don't think Neptune can really put words to it. And like, we don't get to see the version of the scene where Neptune and Venus wind up in the closet together. But right, I don't think that Venus... I think that Neptune would probably have a similar idea about, the way boys treat each other. Or at least I don't think would necessarily know the thing that Venus knows about the way boys treat, quote-unquote, each other. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Neptune is very, very insightful about male, ostensibly homosocial dynamics, but...
If this were a play, for instance, and I was helping give direction to actors performing these characters, I want to ascribe, a interiority to Neptune about a specific idea. But one of the things that I might suggest could be Neptune's motivation towards Venus is recognizing that Venus is queer, but assuming that the weird attraction connection, quote, who does Venus have a crush on, unquote, that we see later, etc., that Venus is crushing on Jupiter in part because Jupiter is as tomboyish of a like crush as possible. So it's not like a real crush, but it's like the feelings of one.
Oh, gay boy could get to crushing on a girl.
Exactly.
That would be
And like
really funny.
from
Oh my
Neptune's
god.
perspective, it's like, oh my god, these like terrible, like, like from
That's
her
a
point of view,
really
she's like, okay, yeah, I can see all of this, and like I know it's not gonna end well, but like, what am I gonna do? Fix their lives for them? I'm Neptune.
god. That's really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And I do think that idea, I think that reading could explain a lot of um, their interactions, I suppose, or like her
Yeah.
attitude towards this sort of line. Anyways,
yeah. There is also well, we can get to it later because it just comes up in a later scene that we'll see anyway.
they hate me though.
Obviously, is that supposed to make a difference?
The faces in this game are so good.
They're generally Max Schwartz killed it. Like it's
Neptune
genuinely like
just
so fucking impressive.
these big eyes to see all of the light. And Neptune is like, no. I will see as little as possible. Anyways. Does it not?
God, I really wish you would fuck up so bad even the captain hated you. It'd be a good look for you.
Oh. But I don't think I actually could. Mess up on purpose, I mean.
It's literally as easy as doing nothing.
I know. Sometimes it feels harder to not do something than to do something. Like masculinity. I wish I was a little more like you. I do think, while one could say, well, wait a minute, isn't it easier for Venus not to do masculinity than it is? The idea of, like, not I wish I was a girl, but I wish I was not a boy from Venus here. The idea of sometimes it feels harder to be entirely neutral than to be the like actively masked presence that I end up being, like extremely unintentionally. I don't know. I love the radio background, like the waves. I love the music. I wish I was a little more like you. It is also fun that because we're taking so long, we get more of these musical cues. I'm actually gonna, I think, go through this. You're never allowed to think better, that you have it better than me. 8 p.m. I think both of these are Jupiter scenes coming up here.
I believe so.
And
Venus's mean faces are a blessing.
Venus is being diplomatic. I'm trying to think of something positive to say, but I can't. That's as negative as they get. Here's that line that we mentioned earlier.
This is also how I feel about your South Carolina pastor.
It takes a truly extraordinary idiot to keep at something he has no idea how to do. The, like, further indictment is the vast number of people who are like, yes, this is the content I want. Yes, I want nothing more than this. But,
Well,
you know.
let it never be said that I think very highly of Christians.
I think, gosh, I wish I had the line, the clip to just like insert here, but you mentioned it last route about the like paucity of the American evangelical imagination. That I think might be the key.
Is
there.
that episode? I don't think that episode is up when we're recording this yet.
I think that might be in the first half of Route 2.
Oh,
or the
never mind then.
first 2/3 of Route 2, because the second part is out right now.
Yeah.
Pray we never to meet him. Do we think the captain built this? Venus gets the wrong idea about jokes. Jupiter snaps a hair tie against her wrist. There's something wrong with the lock.
Oh, right on Jupiter. Is it broken? I don't hear any static. It really is broken.
Locks should be staticking. I forget that the audience at home can see my mouse, but you can't.
No, I can see your mouse.
Oh, you can't? Okay. Venus, like, kind of normal, confused, scared. Jupiter, absolutely freaked out. Neptune is still in, like...
I don't think this is Jupiter's super freaked out phase. I think this is Jupiter's just kind of, like, evaluating phase.
Maybe. I feel like her pupils are extra small here. Like, we're seeing more of the whites of her eyes there.
That's fair.
But I just think it's fascinating that is Neptune still in, like, catty make fun of the captain mode here and just hasn't transitioned? Or is this more like they all have the devil in them a little bit? I don't know.
Uh-huh.
That's so dangerous. No one would leave it unlocked like that, would they?
No, they wouldn't. They could have broken it and not told anyone. That'd be just like Group East.
I think Group South was here last, so, that does increase the chances of them breaking it on purpose.
Or them, or anyone. They're all jerks who'd rather let the next group take the fall than fix it, so what does it matter which one it was? The crystalline whisker look fine. It looks like someone tried to tape it together, but it must have come loose.
It could have already been like this, but this kind of charm doesn't break that easily, I don't think. You just need to make sure the wire is securely touching the galena. Jupiter relaxes slightly. She is more worried about the devil than any of us. But all of us are worried.
Well, Jupiter, I've got some news for you.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? The game could surprise us. I mean, the game could surprise me.
The game could surprise you.
Humans are much more likely to kill you than the devil is. Statistically. Okay. So, I want the scene here that we pick to be the opposite of what we pick in the closet later with Jupiter.
Mm-hmm.
So which closet scene do we want to see again?
That's up to you. I think the choking one is slightly more interesting to me.
It's been longer since we've seen that one, but depending on what our...
Well, no, we saw the choking one most recently, because the first one was the...
Oh, right, that's what I meant. That, that we've seen that... Yeah, I said that backwards, didn't I?
Yes. Mm-hmm. You mean it's been more recent?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, then let's do Venus and Jupiter here, and we'll do Neptune and Jupiter next time.
Okay, so we do Venus, Jupiter...
So yeah, I think that works, because the Neptune and Jupiter will play very nicely into Jupiter's exclusion ending.
Great, so we'll do Neptune and Jupiter into... Okay,
in the closet later, and here, yeah.
And so then in the fourth route, we'll flop these two, probably?
Probably.
Okay. There's probably some wire in the weird little shacks in the clearing out back. Venus, I've got a plan. I'm smiling.
Have fun.
Mischievous Neptune. Scary. Scary, scary. This tiny little shack. Scary, scary, modestly large dolls. The possibility, which is weird, is that someone, possibly the captain, decided to make a 6/10 scale house on purpose for 6/10 scale humans or dolls or fun, and then turned it into storage. The possibility, which is scary, is that someone, possibly the captain, completely finished a 6/10 scale shack before realizing his measurements were off in the first place. This, of course, I think reflects a pretty good metaphor for a certain ideas of and criticisms of the idea of a god who created the world. And like technically made it perfect, quote unquote, but there's still like sin in it and evil and temptation and stuff. And it's like, if you're like all powerful, why did you make a world that doesn't seem to make sense to any of our understanding of it and doesn't seem to be made for us to live in it?
I also had this question about why Christians continued to be faithful if this was such an obvious contradiction as a child.
Yeah. I think you would take it a step further if you wanted to and say that, like, oh, the 6/10 scale, that this only works for like children. But I don't think that's a kind or correct analysis of, or a kind or correct criticism to make about a religion, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Venus is still smiling. They're both smiling. They're together despite everything. It's kind of worrying for it to be like that. Maybe we should call the captain.
Jupiter doesn't want to call the captain.
Yeah, let's try to get it working first. Jupiter really doesn't want to call the captain. Venus is like, I guess I'll talk to him instead of you. We look through the drawers. Are you scared of him? And then Jupiter says, got it. Oh, yay! Venus has it. Radio starts working on the lock. We're really glad we didn't have to go back to the captain. Ha, yeah. It does make us worry.
He doesn't hate, says Venus. And Jupiter's like, I don't like being liked by him. It makes me think there must be something wrong with me. I don't want to be the sort of person that he likes. It makes me shiver. He likes people he can make a little uncomfortable and won't give any trouble about it.
Like
Venus
us,
says, like us, I guess. Oh god, how bleak. Exactly us, we're the only people he likes after all.
So, I don't want to spend too much time talking about this because I don't like talking about it.
Uh-huh.
But if you read into this in the most like indelicate way possible,
Yeah.
that if kind of meeting the devil and encountering it is a this like kind of weird transformative experience that somebody goes through and everything, after which they are like changed or like know something about themselves or have more control or whatever over their identity, you know, however that like devil encounter ends, like if that's a like culminating point, if the reason that Group South, despite not being like quote well liked, wait, not Group South, what are we Group West? We're Group West. The reason Group West got delayed all this time before being sent to the cabin is to give the bonfire captain more time to have access to Venus or Jupiter before they go through. I don't know.
It's a grim, not totally unfounded interpretation.
Yeah. I don't think he's
going to do anything terrible. No, he wouldn't, but I don't know, maybe he already did. Like how you don't have to touch someone to touch someone. You know? That sounds weird, forget it.
Oh, Jupiter. This is one of those things that I mean, not exclusively, but this is inclusively one of those things that I mean when I say, if I had my mouth, I would bite. Which is to say, there are bad people in the world. And you know, maybe sometimes it feels like it would be nice if they had a comeuppance. Uh, we're supposed to sleep in shifts, but no one actually told us how we're supposed to do that. Who can fall asleep in an instant and wake up in an instant on demand? Not us. Jupiter is bad at waking up, and Venus is bad at falling asleep, and Neptune is fantastic at both on no schedule but her own. One way or the other, sleeping sounds like too much work, so we're not going to do it. If we had one more, we could play euchre. Is there anything fun to play with 3 people? Is the ending of this story one where the devil comes and they have 4 so they can play euchre together?
Yes,
Sophie?
you've nailed it. Good job.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And you have a big choice to make about because euchre's played in a game of 2 pairs. Like 2 teams against each other. You have to decide who's gonna like pair up and who's gonna pair up with the devil. That's your like final choice. So you actually have to do the 4th route 3 different times to see.
For the record, this game was made in about 3.5 months.
That's kind of incredible.
Truly.
But
just also like have a sense that should be your sense of scope for how big this thing can be.
I spent every bit of 2 months, I think, making the Princeton America's Playground Pokemon game. There's a scale of just how. Although I was working alone,
say that when I say in about 3.5 months, I don't think like there were more people involved than you on this.
That definitely helps a lot, I found.
Certainly AVB is not the programmer on this game.
That makes sense.
Just the writer. Anyway, they don't have enough people to play euchre and can't think of any other 3-player games.
I miss euchre. Surely there has to be something better we can do with our lives. We just stay on this scene for like 5 minutes. Jupiter can't think of anything. Neptune can't think of anything. Or Venus can't think of anything. And Neptune is just like so annoyed at them.
I'm very upset at you both. What other things normal kids are supposed to do in this sort of situation? Like truth or dare or something? That's a bad idea.
That's a really bad idea.
That's a great idea. I guess it's an okay idea.
Well, it's not terrible.
Great. Everyone agrees. It was a wonderful idea. Neptune, you go first.
I do love that my like Venus just keeps getting like higher and more more like confused, tired, scared.
The increasing like wayfishness of Venus is very fun.
Exactly.
Why?
I love that Neptune is like testing because like what it should be is they have to pick truth or like Neptune has to pick truth or dare.
Neptune is offering them an out and neither of them are taking it, and it's very funny.
But like the way
seniority.
The way the game should work, like truth or dare would work, is like, oh, Neptune, you go first. As in, Neptune, you have to pick truth or dare first. And Neptune is like, okay, well, I'm going to seize control of the situation. It's like, great, I'm first. And then, like, that means I get to ask first rather than answer first. Which is a great subversion. I'm the oldest, though.
And because for some other reason. Fine. So, how do you play Truth or Dare? Oh my god, are you for real?
It's such a simple... You alternate truth or dare, and you go around in a circle, and whoever...
I need to save you two from yourselves, cough, cough.
What a line. Man, the coughs are so scary.
Oh, that sounded fine to me. No. Cough. Everyone shut up and listen to me.
Yeah, that's the game.
If I go first, like you just said, I ask you truth or dare, and then you pick, and then I think of something horrible. Okay? I cannot believe either of you. Oh, wait then. It's too late. You already said I could go first. Own it. Okay, okay. I'm realizing the thing about playing Jupiter and Neptune both is that they do most of the talking in, like, trio scenes. Which means a lot more talking to myself than I realized.
It's fun. So we're excluding Jupiter, which means we get to see this scene again, I think?
Uh-huh.
Getting dared to run around in a skirt.
Yeah.
And the idea that dares are less hurtful than truths. Dare.
Seriously?
Yeah, is that okay?
Your entire camp experience is defined by someone making you do something awful, and you want to pick dare?
But you won't, right?
Venus.
Love Neptune's expression.
That is the most dangerous thing you have ever said and explains everything about why terrible stuff happens to you all of the time.
Oh.
So, do you want to pick something else?
But truth is way worse.
Truth is just embarrassing, but with a dare you could get hurt, right? See, Jupiter gets it.
Would you pick truth too?
Absolutely. I don't want to move or do anything. There's nothing you can think of to ask me that would be embarrassing.
I think I still want to pick dare, though. I mean, it's kind of like Jupiter said. Truth is embarrassing and dares could get you hurt. Getting hurt is way less scary.
That's almost pretty clever, but what if I dare you to do something really embarrassing?
Well,
I could make you wear a skirt, or run around the lake, or call Group South the worst thing you could think of. These are so boring and obvious, too. Think if I had some imagination, Venus.
Venus thinks about this very quickly and carefully and vividly.
It can get so much worse.
Venus is frightened.
Being awful is so trivial. It's easy beyond easy.
Should I pick truth then?
Tell me who you have a crush on. What's your worst fear? Who you hate the most? See? This is so easy. Get it? I can cough. Cough, cough. I just don't have it in me today. Are you okay?
I can always cough. So, it doesn't matter which I pick.
You're still at their mercy. It's a bad game.
Like Pascal's wager. I'm sorry, I don't know what to...
Ugh, you can't just apologize.
Meanwhile, Jupiter over here has, like, become aware of how bad an idea this was.
Wait, I got it. I dare you not to say sorry for the rest of the night. Oh, my god.
I can do that.
Can he, though? No, it's perfect. It'll fix something annoying, and this will make everyone's life easier, and all of us win.
Is it really annoying?
You shouldn't have to apologize for things you don't need to apologize for.
Sorry. Whoops.
So what happens now? Nothing, because this game is stupid and sucks, and forget it.
Sorry.
Uh, uh,
That was on purpose? Jokes? Question mark?
Seriously, though, do stop.
Well, I think we might just follow what Neptune just told us to do, right?
Wait, really?
And just stop this episode here.
Oh, right. Time. I forgot how that works.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You can find me most places. You know, I always wonder whether or not I should like unify my brand. You can find the show at Mousewife Games. You can find Twitter, Mousewife Games. You can find me at Folly on Co-host is where I do most of my writing. I've been Juliet.
I'm on co-host at Your Girl KV and also at itch at yourgirlkv.itch.io, and I've been Kavita.
Join us next time on.
Are you queuing me up?
I am queuing you up.
Okay. Join us next time on The Devil We Know. Sorry, I'm bad at finishing people's sentences on purpose.
Sandwiches. How are you at finishing people's sandwiches?
That depends on how hungry I am.
Good night, everyone.